Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, another video to discuss with you guys. And today, what I decided to go and do, I decided to go ahead and discuss with you guys on a different topic. And well, since with the release of Godzilla X Kong, and well, since the movie is actually still making money, and I literally decided to go ahead and discuss with you guys about some unanswered questions on on the Godzilla series. And also, just to let you guys know that movie timelines, if you guys don't know, well, like I'll show you guys. We actually did do a unanswered questions on Godzilla. So if you guys have not checked out his video, go and check it out. I'll leave his channel in the description below, and go ahead and check him out. I mean, he actually did what's called brought up some questions regarding the Godzilla series. So I decided to go and help out by bring my bring my own. I decided to bring a concept of bringing some questions of like what's called of the Godzilla series. So let's just go and dive in. So here we go. Alright, so starting off, we actually got is what's called the first question. This one is actually discussing about of like how many Godzillas are there. Alright, so really the question what's called is actually centering on like how many Godzillas are there. So like literally, you guys already know that I'm actually a fan of the Godzilla series. Since I did see all of the Showa, Heisei, Millennium, and also the MonsterVerse movies. And well, like literally, like I decided to go and actually show you guys how many Godzillas are there. So starting off, we got is the original, which came out in 1954, and well, like literally that right there, what's called. This is actually the first Godzilla, or the original Godzilla. So that's Godzilla number one. Second, we have is the Godzilla. Second we have is Godzilla Raids Again, and is actually a different Godzilla. So that's Godzilla number two. King Kong versus Godzilla is actually like, well, literally this Godzilla is actually could be the same Godzilla from Raids Again, even though that this movie takes place literally about like a couple of years like what's called past the events of Godzilla Raids Again. So I could say this is the same Godzilla, and also same thing goes with in Mothra versus Godzilla. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, Invasion of Astro Monster, Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, and also Son of Godzilla. We also have his. I think it was also like this. Well, I also what's called also like I think it was Destroy All Monsters and also All Monsters Attack, and well, like literally, yeah, they're kind of like the same. What's called Godzilla, and also alongside with the 70s, we also have is actually Godzilla versus Hedorah, Godzilla versus Gigan. We also have is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla and Terror of Mechagodzilla, and literally that's kind of pretty much it. So I guess from Godzilla Raids Again all the way towards Terror of Mechagodzilla, it seems that was called it seems that could actually be what's called those are actually what's called all those appearances from Godzilla are actually are actually like literally it seems that like there are two Godzillas in the Showa series. We have is the original and also the Godzilla who appeared in Raids Again. Even though that I guess that says he actually was frozen. He actually was got captured in an avalanche at the end of Raids Again. So like I don't know. I could have decided just to go through. I guess that literally says like that kind of what's called shows you like what how did he was introduced to King Kong versus Godzilla, or like I guess there like since like I mentioned there could be maybe like three Godzillas in the show there could be three Godzillas in the show series. Like I don't really know. I decided just throw two of them. So yeah, there could be two Godzillas in the show series, and also we even got this the Heisei series. And well, just to let you guys know that what's called the Heisei series is actually what's called connected only to the first movie, and it's actually I guess a second universe. So I guess that's actually still like what's called the same Godzilla from the original from the first movie. So yeah, like that's actually still Godzilla number one, but he appears in a different timelines, and then Cynthia goes all the way towards Godzilla versus Destroyer. So it's literally like that what's called this Godzilla from this Heisei timeline has been killed, and Will Jr. takes over. And then in 1998 we got is the reboot, but this is actually just a different universe. So yeah, that's actually Godzilla number 3. Then we actually got is Godzilla 2000. So this is actually kind of a separate timeline. So we're gonna go and like people are saying this is actually what's called the second generation Godzilla. So we're probably gonna go with I guess Godzilla number 4. Then we also got is Godzilla versus Megagearus, and it seems that Godzilla versus Godzilla versus Mechagearus is actually what's called is actually in the same timeline as was goes actually in the same timeline as the original Godzilla, where like we know actually where Godzilla was not what's called taken out by the oxygen destroyer. So I guess that this is actually what's called Godzilla number 5. So yeah, like literally, but just to let you guys know that the way how Godzilla looked in the opening of the movie was actually his design for the movie. So yeah, I guess that we're just gonna go with this is actually just a different timeline. So we're gonna go with Godzilla number 5. Then we have is Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, and this is actually what's called. This Godzilla is actually made by the spirits of the people who died in World War II. So this is actually Godzilla number 6. And then we also got is Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS. And well, this Godzilla was actually what's called I guess in the same in this timeline is Godzilla is actually I guess the second Godzilla in the what's called is actually in the same timeline as the OG. So this is actually Godzilla number 7. And then we also got is Godzilla Final Wars, which is actually where we're gonna see a different Godzilla, and I guess it's actually in its own timeline. So that's Godzilla number 8. And then well, like we also got is the Monster Verse, and well, literally this is actually obviously is Godzilla number 9. And then we also have a Shin Godzilla, which is Godzilla number 10. And then we also have is Godzilla Earth from the anime trilogy, so that's Godzilla number 11. Then we also got is, well, Godzilla Singular Point, so we're just gonna throw that in there, so that's Godzilla number 12. And then we have is Godzilla minus 1, and that's obviously, well, what's called Godzilla number 13. And well, literally like in what's called, so literally at the end, there's actually, there's actually 13, different Godzillas, and yes, like that's actually kind of a lot, and literally and also even I actually also forgot to go and throw in well Godzilla from the animated series, like so yeah, it seems that like that's in general that's 14. So yeah, like literally I kind of what's called forgot one. So yeah, and like in general there's 14 Godzillas, and honestly that was just kind of pretty crazy, and like literally since like the way how Godzilla was called changed throughout the past years. So yeah, like well, going back and what's called there's actually 14 Godzillas, and well, like they actually some of these Godzillas are actually what's called connected to the original, but they're in their own timelines. And well, the only Godzillas that are actually in their own timelines is Godzilla 2000, Godzilla Final Wars, and also I guess I also forgot to mention that Godzilla Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah is actually somehow connected to is actually also tied to the original, and also they even actually and also they even reference Godzilla 98. So it seems like Godzilla 98 is actually in the same universe as what's called the Toho universe, which is pretty great. So hey, at least that they actually did reference Godzilla 98, which is actually kind of pretty intriguing. But anyway, moving on. So yeah, so literally in general, there's I guess a total of 14 Godzilla, since I did actually forgot to mention the Godzilla from the series, and yeah, there's a total of 14 Godzillas. So who knows if in the future we actually get another Toho movie, and then that will probably either be Godzilla 15, and well, guess that we got to go ahead and wait and see. So yeah, but anyway, moving on. Next, we also got is question number 2, and this question is that this question is actually with I guess the Millennium series, and this was actually about this is actually kind of with Godzilla Final Wars, is that like how come we never saw any other monsters in the movie? Alright, so in Godzilla Final Wars, we actually seen Godzilla fighting against all the monsters that were introduced in the whole series. Like for example is Rodan, King Caesar, Anguirus, Gigan, Ebra, Hedorah, Manda. We also have is Kamacuras, Kamunga. Alongside we actually got is we also got is Manila, who's actually Godzilla's son, and then like literally Mothra as well. And then yeah, like literally I don't know how many monsters there are, but yeah, that's actually gotta that's all the monsters that were introduced into the to the Godzilla series. And then like literally in the end of the movie, well, we're actually seeing Godzilla fight against the new new villain, who is actually Monster X, aka Kaiser Ghidorah. And so yeah, like that's actually the final villain of the Godzilla series until once we actually until the MonsterVerse. Once when they end up bringing Godzilla's villains such as Ghidorah and Mechagodzilla, and also with the rumor that Destroyer is going to be appearing in the next movie in the Godzilla vs Kong trilogy. So who knows like if that will happen? But I want to go. It will actually be pretty good to see Godzilla. To see Destroyer and the MonsterVerse. I really want to go and see him. But like since Adam Wingard is actually going to be who knows if he'll actually direct the next movie. But I really want to go ahead and complete his trilogy, and then in the future we'll probably have maybe Gareth Edwards return to the MonsterVerse to helm a solo Godzilla movie, because that's what people actually want to see. But that's also a different issue. But like I was going back to Godzilla Final Wars. Yeah, so like the jumping to conclusion is what happened to the other monsters. Now the monsters that I did actually kind of like what's called the like literally probably actually did not see is actually what's called the monsters that we seen in the Showa and also in the Heisei series, and also obviously in the Millennium series. Like the monsters that were kind of missing is like that actually kind of what's called mentioned is that like literally where is actually Gorosaurus, Titanosaurus, and also alongside with what's going also alongside with like the other monsters that we seen in the Showa series. Like literally, I guess that those are the only two monsters we never seen in Godzilla Final Wars. And like I don't know if there's any other monsters in the Showa series. I guess it's just only those two. And literally, I guess that. Oh, and also alongside Varan, but he was actually mentioned in the opening, but that was just a reference. And also the War of the Gargantuas, and also even Frankenstein. But like literally, it seems that I also forgot to mention that Frankenstein is actually in the same universe in the Godzilla against Mechagodzilla timeline. So and also but like alongside like going back, those monsters did not actually appear in the movie. And also moving on to the Heisei series, well, we never saw Biollante, we never saw Space Godzilla, we never actually saw Mogira, and we never actually really saw Destroyer Ear. So like literally why how come like those monsters didn't even appear either? And also jumping into the Millennium series, well, Orga, Megaguirus, what's called Baragon, and also alongside with obviously is Mechagodzilla. And yeah, so literally those monsters actually appeared again in the Millennium series. But the thing is that like why haven't we actually seen them in Final Wars? Now I guess that probably like literally the real explanation is that I guess probably could be due to the budget, because here's the movie had a lot of big budget, so I don't know why couldn't they actually just throw in more monsters. I mean, it would have been cool if we would have seen those monsters return. It would have been cool to see I would have found out that Mechagodzilla was supposed to be in the movie, but they just changed him with Gotenga, and with Gotengo, and then they also literally scenes that you guys actually seen the fake video where that Boggin was supposed to appear in the movie, but now it was just fake. And plus Wikizilla did actually kind of discuss about it, so I'll leave their video in the description below. So yeah, and also alongside like literally basically. So and also like I mentioned, it seems that probably maybe like they didn't really have that much money in the budget, because the budget was actually a lot. They had over I think like $1 billion. The budget was $1 billion, since Toho made a lot of money throughout the years with the Godzilla movies. So I don't know why didn't they actually decide to introduce more monsters. I guess that maybe they probably there's actually a lot of explanations, and I guess that it just literally goes with maybe because the story was probably already too packed, which is obviously that's also an issue. Second, they want, I guess that probably the movie just I guess that there's probably too many monsters, and I guess they want Godzilla just to fight Kaiser Ghidorah, and plus alongside they even brought back Gigan, who has also helped out Monster X. So yeah, I guess that but to be honest, it would have been cool if they would have thrown in at the final at the fight, what's called the final fight, they should have thrown in Mechagodzilla, or actually Space Godzilla, or even actually this, like I mentioned, is which is also a Destroyer. They could have just thrown those monsters at the the ending of the movie, and it would have been cool, because we would have seen Godzilla fight against Destroyer, Mechagodzilla, Space Godzilla, Gigan, and Monster X. And I guess that's kind of 5 monsters, which literally if they would have done that, then they would have actually what's called predated Spider-Man No Way Home, which literally that would have been crazy because since like literally like with Spider-Man No Way, I know this is off subject. Spider-Man No Way Home actually saw the return of the villains from the different universes, such as Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, Alfred Molina's Doctor Octopus, Tommy Sator's Sandman from the Raimi trilogy, Reese Ifans the Lizard, and Jamie Foxx's Electro from the Mark Webb universe, and that was actually just 5 villains. And well, since they didn't even really do a Sinister Six, so but going back with Godzilla Final Wars, if they would have done that, then yeah, this movie would end up predating No Way Home, which would have been crazy. And like if they would have, here's the thing with the MonsterVerse, if they would have actually did was like in the third movie, if Adam Winkler would actually decide to take a serious style with the movie, then he should have just probably just add Destroyer and maybe probably just do something different. Like if he would have ended up having a like he had, like literally he did mention in it he actually mentioned that he has a lot of ideas of what he could do with a third movie. So and plus he said that he wants to bring Destroyer, so I think that would be a great idea. So just I mean like literally just go for it. But going back with Final Wars, yeah, literally I guess that the main explanation is that I guess probably they didn't know where could they put the monsters in the movie, so they just decided just to like just only the they decided to introduce all like the popular monsters, and then the what's called and that's kind of the end of it. But honestly, it would have been cool if we would actually see Godzilla fight against his his popular what's called villains, and like literally like I mentioned, if they would have did that, like because like literally here's the thing, if they would have did that, then that would have actually predated No Way Home. But literally if they would have did that, then I don't know how would No Way Home would actually do it, because like literally if No Way Home, like since like when No Way Home came out like in 2021, and since Godzilla Final Wars came out like came out in 2004, then yeah, they're gonna people are gonna say, oh yeah, they copied Godzilla Final Wars. Well, no, it's actually kind of different, because with No Way Home. Next we got is question number 3, and well, this question actually discusses about with the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, and this was actually on why didn't Godzilla appear in the Mothra trilogy. So literally that was actually kind of a different, I guess, variant. That was actually a different King Ghidorah, and then well in Rebirth of Mothra 3, well like this Ghidorah's named Grand King Ghidorah. So there's actually 2 different King Ghidorahs in the Heisei universe. Even though that I also forgot to mention prehistoric King Ghidorah, who's actually the younger King Ghidorah, and then like literally and also even Mechagodzilla. So I guess that there's a total of 4 King Ghidorahs in the Heisei universe, but like in general there's actually 2 Ghidorahs, which is actually the Ghidorah from the Heisei Godzilla universe and also the Mothra trilogy universe. So but literally jumping into conclusion is that why didn't Godzilla appear in the Mothra trilogy? Now, here's the thing. I guess that like I have actually 2 explanations, and like they're gonna make sense. And I guess that the first explanation is that I guess I probably like Rebirth of Mothra, like the trilogy takes place in a different universe, and I guess that was in the Heisei, it's actually in that Heisei universe. But I guess that like I forgot to mention is actually in a different timeline. So it seems that this Mothra is actually in the Heisei universe, but it's from a different timeline. So I would say like I would say different universe, but like she's in the different timelines. So yeah, literally I guess like literally Mothra takes place. Well, like I mentioned, this trilogy takes place in the Heisei universe, but it's actually in a different timeline where Godzilla doesn't exist, and like literally the only villains that she actually fought from Godzilla's universe was actually obviously Grand King Ghidorah. But Ghidorah is actually from literally this Ghidorah is actually is from a different it's actually also in this is actually different than the the King Ghidorah from the Heisei universe, but that's actually from Godzilla's universe. But in Rebirth of Mothra 3, this Ghidorah is actually what's called a different Ghidorah, who is actually named Grand King Ghidorah. So this Ghidorah is actually from Mothra's universe, which is actually was actually from the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, but it's actually in the Heisei universe, but it's actually from a different timeline. So it seems that like literally like this Ghidorah only exists in Mothra's timeline, and like literally like I mentioned, Godzilla doesn't exist in her timeline. But like clearly, and also the other explanation is that I guess that probably Toho wanted to go ahead and actually just. I guess the other explanation is of why Godzilla didn't appear. I guess I mean because like since obviously Godzilla was taken out in Godzilla vs Destroyer, and I guess that they actually wanted to go and have Godzilla just what was going to take a break, and then like until once when we got the 1998 reboot, and yeah, that kind of did not went well. So they brought Godzilla in 1999 with Godzilla 2000 within a different timeline, and well. Yeah, like literally, so I guess in general, like that's also the other explanation. And well, since like I mentioned, like this was called like literally just to jump into conclusion, this is actually just it takes place in the Heisei universe, but it's in a different timeline. So we're just gonna go ahead and leave it at that. So yeah. And then up next we got is question number 4, and this is actually regarding on a canceled movie. And this canceled movie is actually called Godzilla vs. Godzilla. So the question is, whatever happened to the movie? Alright, so if you guys don't know what is Godzilla versus if you guys don't know about the movie Godzilla versus Godzilla, well, I'm gonna give you guys a recap about the movie because I did found out about this movie, like, and it seems this is actually the story's kind of pretty intriguing. So, like, the movie Godzilla vs. Godzilla was actually somehow supposed to be, I guess, a sequel to Godzilla vs. Hedorah, and it was supposed to be directed by the director of Godzilla vs. Hedorah. I don't know how to pronounce his full name, and well, like his what's called like his story for the movie is that Godzilla would encounter this space monster who was named Deathla, and he was kind of similar to Hedorah, and then like literally, well, like literally, I guess that the whole story was the whole story was actually gonna probably be similar to like just Godzilla versus Hedorah, where Godzilla has to take out this monster who was actually spreading toxic, etc. But literally, like what's going to say, that was actually gonna like literally. I also forgot to mention that the movie was supposed to be called Godzilla 3D to the Max, and well, literally, like the director seemed like director kind of seemed a pretty cool title, but like literally, you guys are kind of like literally like the movie was actually in development, and also I guess they also had obviously the script was done, but yeah, but also I know you guys. I know you guys are going to be saying, like, what happened to the movie? So, here's the thing. So, like, in the 2010s, it seems that what's called Legendary, what's called Pictures, actually wanted to go and acquire the rights to the series because, they wanted to go ahead and do a reboot since due to the failure of Godzilla 98, and also it's been over a year since the last time we seen Godzilla. So, seems that Legendary wanted to reboot what's called the series, so they decided to go ahead and acquired the rights from from the director of the canceled Godzilla movie, and then that's where that's where they end up actually announcing the Godzilla reboot, and then in 2014, well, we seen the release of Godzilla 2014, which actually got mixed reviews by critics and audiences, but it was also a big success at the box office, and then that's where they end up launching the MonsterVerse with Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and then recently Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. So in total, there's been 5 MonsterVerse movies, and literally, I guess this is actually and people should actually thank the director of the canceled Godzilla movie, and well, yeah, like literally, if it wasn't for him, if he if he didn't actually if he didn't make the deal with Legendary, then yeah, we wouldn't actually seen the MonsterVerse, and well, literally, who knows like what would happen if the MonsterVerse did not happen. So yeah, but alongside, yeah, you can go ahead and thank him to go ahead and bring the MonsterVerse, and yeah, but alongside, so yeah, it seems that basically, yeah, literally, I guess that's what happened to the canceled Godzilla 3D to the Max movie, and well, to be honest, it would have been cool to see that, and also like literally, like there was also a lot of canceled Godzilla movies, like for example, there was actually supposed to be a sequel to Godzilla 2000, and also there was supposed to be a what's called in the Showa series, we were supposed to get Kong versus Ebra, which is actually, I guess, somehow was supposed to be an inspiration from the Godzilla from the King Kong animated series, but they ended up changing it into Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. And also, we were supposed to get, like, there was actually, and also in the Heisei series, we were supposed to get a remake of King Kong vs. Godzilla, but that was actually canceled because due to the fact that the rights to Kong were actually in a mess, and then like, well, yeah, it seems that it was kind of like that literally what happened. But jumping alongside the end, yeah, there was actually a lot of canceled Godzilla movies, and who knows if we'll probably get to see what's called this story in the MonsterVerse. Like, to be honest, I think that they should probably use this as a kind of a for a Godzilla solo film where he ends up fighting against Hydra, and then he ends up actually spreading this toxic smoke throughout this world, and then Godzilla has to go and fight against him. And well, yeah, like they could use that as a plot for the solo Godzilla movie, but who knows if we get to see Hydra in the MonsterVerse in the future. But I guess that we gotta wait and see. So yeah, but anyway, moving on. Then I actually also got this question number 5, and this question actually discusses about, is the MonsterVerse in the same universe as the Pacific Rim universe? All right, so just to let you guys know, if you guys haven't heard about the whole tease of a crossover between the MonsterVerse and also Pacific Rim universe, well, I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a recap. So I guess somewhere to the release of the due to the start of the MonsterVerse alongside with the Pacific Rim movies, there was actually rumors that there was actually a crossover in what's called in the works, and it seems that there could be seems that Legendary want to go and do a crossover with Pacific Rim and the MonsterVerse, but sadly that did not happen. And well, like literally it seems that people have been saying that could actually the MonsterVerse be in the same universe as Pacific Rim. Now here's the thing, I have seen the Pacific Rim movies and obviously the MonsterVerse movies, so just to let you guys know that they're not in the same universe. And the reason why is that because, well, here's the thing. With in the beginning of Pacific Rim, it ends up showing that the first the first monster attack was actually in 2013, and well, with Godzilla, with Godzilla's first appearance was actually in 2014. So literally if the events of Pacific Rim would have started in 2013, then literally, and then they should have with Godzilla 2014 took place, well, obviously in 2014. So literally they should have mentioned the monsters from Pacific Rim, because here's the thing, if Godzilla would have actually appeared in 2014, then the Jaegers and also the people would have been aware that there's actually a new monster, but this one is actually from Earth. Because if you guys know that in the Pacific Rim universe, the kaijus are from a different planet, and well, that's also actually was explained in the sequel. And well, literally those monsters are actually from a different world. And well, with Godzilla, well, he's obviously from planet Earth, but he's actually lived throughout the past millions of years, and well, until he actually was introduced in Godzilla 2014. So literally, I mentioned, if they were in the same universe, then the Jaegers would actually have been alerted by saying, oh yeah, there's another monster, but he's actually different, and literally that's kind of pretty much it. But so they're not really in the same universe. And well, just to let you guys know, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a what's called scene from, I guess, Uprising. I don't know, I think it's probably the first one or the second one, but there's a scene where they're actually checking out there's a scene where they actually shows you a list of different monsters, and it seems that people did point out that there's actually that the monsters are actually a reference to the monsters from the Toho universe, like Gigan, Baragon, Anguirus, and also even make a reference to the Mutos from the MonsterVerse. And well, literally seems that some people say that could they actually? People are saying since those monsters were referenced in the Pacific Rim universe, could they actually exist? So could those monsters exist in the Pacific Rim universe? And well, I do actually have a pretty great explanation that could make sense. Is that probably since literally in the Pacific Rim universe, I mean, it seems that probably those monsters that were referenced in the movie, I guess that they could actually be, well, I know that people are gonna get, or probably already know that it seems that those monsters are actually could be variants of the monsters from the Toho and MonsterVerse universe. So it seems that, well, since we're discussing about the multiverse, it seems that those monsters that were referenced in Godzilla and Pacific Rim were in the Pacific Rim universe could be variants of the monsters from like I mentioned, they're actually those monsters could actually be variants. And also literally, since they actually was good. Also, I did forgot to mention that I guess in the first Pacific Rim movie, they also did. There was actually what's called also a reference to the Muto from Godzilla 2014, and also like I mentioned, they even referenced the monsters from the what's called from the Toho, and also I don't know if they also did reference Gamera as well. Like I don't know if I kind of forgot what's called. I don't know if they did reference I don't know if they did even made a reference what's called reference to Gamera. I don't know, but yeah, like I mentioned, like literally seems that those monsters that were referenced in the Pacific Rim movies were actually just variants, and like literally like like I mentioned, what's called and also plus like like what's called like I mentioned, since the Pacific Rim universe is actually it's a different universe. Same thing goes with the Monsterverse. So yeah, they're two different universes, but they're actually owned by Legendary. So yeah, but literally they're actually owned by the same what's called they're actually in their different they're actually in separate universes, but they're also owned by Legendary. So yeah, and but literally but alongside so just to jump into conclusion, it seems that these two are not connected or in the same universe. They're just in separate universes, and it seems that in the Pacific Rim universe that there's actually a reference to the Toho monsters. So and also alongside with the monsters from the Monsterverse. So I guess that there could be a possibility that what's called that there are actually variants of those monsters. There could be a possibility that the Toho that the monsters from the Toho and Monsterverse universe could actually be could actually what's called exist in the Pacific Rim universe, and literally that there is actually kind of pretty cool. But like literally like to be honest, like I guess we're not gonna go ahead and was because seems that they're not gonna go ahead and explain it, since due to the fact that the sequel kind of did not make that much money at the box office, so we'll never get to see a third movie, or who knows if they're gonna make a third movie in the future. I guess that we gotta go ahead and wait and see. So yeah, but anyway, moving on. Well, there you have it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go ahead and subscribe, try to hit the notification. I'll see you guys later.